everyone, my name is Sarah Baxter and I am one of April's voice students, and I have been singing a very long time. I don't actually even remember when I first started singing because my mother sang with me from the time I was born and still sings with me. And so I've always sung, but I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself as a singer. I always felt that I wasn't accurate enough, or I wasn't interesting enough, or I wasn't unique enough as a voice. I thought that I just kind of sounded like everybody else and that there wasn't really anything special about my voice. And so I sang in choirs and I sang to family and friends and they enjoyed it. But of course, I just assumed they're my family and they're my friends. Of course, they like what I do. And of course, they would say nice things to me because I'm their person. They don't want to hurt my feelings. And they might not be telling me the truth. And I wasn't really sure. But I kept singing because I needed to sing and I wanted to sing and I loved singing. And again, I just thought I was basically forgettable. I didn't think that my voice was really worth putting out into the world as anything for other people to pay attention to. So I continued to sing all through high school. And our school did not actually have any kind of choir or really any kind of music program, which is really sad. And so I found another choir through a friend, and I joined that choir. And that was another challenge because while I loved singing in the choir, we were taught to make sure that our voices blended. So it was all about sounding like everybody around you. We all wanted to have the same tone, the same vowel sounds, the same phrasing, the same breath. It was very much about being in unison, very much about being together, and not really about standing out again. So I trained my voice to sound like a chorister. And I was given solos, and it was an incredibly confidence-building experience for me to be out in front of the choir singing. And it was also terrifying because I had major imposter syndrome. I didn't feel like I had any reason to belong there. I felt like they were all better musicians than I was and had more experience than I did. And I couldn't read music. And I felt like that put me at such a disadvantage that I didn't really belong. And I did really, really badly in all of my sight reading, but I memorized everything and I learned everything by ear. And I would learn very, very quickly. And I could remember very, very easily all of the things that we were singing. And so I was able to, as I felt, kind of skate through without revealing that I didn't really belong there, even though my director absolutely knew what was going on. And she didn't call me out in front of everybody, which I appreciate. She put me on the spot a few times with solos, and one time in the smaller, more advanced group, she had me sing something completely alone in front of everybody, which was terrifying because I was like, this is my moment, I'm going to fail, and everybody's going to know I've been singing it wrong all along, and it was fine. It was correct, and she didn't say anything. And I went on to study music in college and languages, and I really wanted to just study music, but the message I had received was that's not a grown-up thing to do. You should have a real job. And so I was trying to find something that I could actually enjoy doing as a real job, and I couldn't find anything. And while I really enjoyed languages, I couldn't think of a job that I would actually really love in languages at that time, which is not relevant here. But I focused my studies on languages, which is good, but also on music, which was not anything to do with my degree whatsoever, but I just couldn't give it up. And so I continued to train, and I was able to get into the applied voice program, and a couple of times in a row, actually. And I had a really great teacher, but he told me very frankly that I would never be a professional singer, and no matter how hard I worked, that it was not going to happen for me. And that was devastating because that's really what I wanted. I didn't believe in myself enough to discredit his opinion, and I didn't believe in myself enough to really want to fight it, but I still wasn't going to stop singing. So I kept on singing and stayed in his choir at the college and did college choir for a while until I hit a wall with that and I stopped. And I didn't sing in a group for quite a long time after that. I did join a couple of bands and sang in a couple of different musical collaborations, and sang actually for quite a long time as the preferred vocalist for a local band where we sing swing and big band and jazz era, like 40s jazz. And I loved that. And that was one of those things I kind of fell into, where the band was temporarily without a vocalist, and someone who knew me and knew the band said, "Hey, you sing, you were in choir, why don't you try?" And 15 years later, I had been singing them for consecutive seasons and years, and they just kept piling up. And I still didn't believe in myself because I couldn't read music, and because I felt like people just liked me because I was young and cheerful and nobody better was available. So I did that for quite a while, and I did grow a lot as a musician from that experience. I still could not read music, and I had to sing all kinds of things that I need to either learn very, very quickly in different styles of pieces, or I had to take some time and learn them off on the side if I could. And that was really challenging. I had to level up a lot in how quickly I could assimilate new music, and brought into my range, singing everything from musicals to, like I said, 1940s jazz and the Great American Songbook, really stretching my voice. And one notable one is singing as every character in Oklahoma by myself for a medley of Oklahoma. That was really, really fun and challenging. But it really pushed me to develop my voice more and to keep learning everything that I could, while still having a major block about reading music and not taking that on. So music is really, really important to me, obviously. And it has been such an immense part of my life, I can't even imagine life without music. And yet, despite the fact that music is essentially what I live and breathe, for many, many years, I had no dedicated music practice time. I had no dedicated music practice space, and I simply let other people dictate the terms. I was in a band with somebody else. They set the practices. They picked the songs. I had very little creative input other than to say, "I don't want to sing that song. I don't like that song, and I don't want to be on it. Somebody else can have that part." And occasionally suggesting songs which were occasionally accepted. And this was kind of a pattern. I would let other people dictate what I could sing, whether it was something that I sounded good on or liked or not. And there were definitely songs that I loved, and there are other songs that I have sent to the recycle bin and will not be singing anymore because they've had their time. But music has been so incredibly cathartic and healing for me through all of these years that I have been singing. Music has been my solace, and whether that's, shrieking out my feelings over a particularly strident song, or just crying, or just feeling that upsurge of deep happiness and joy that makes you want to cry when you feel that one song, or you get chills just all over when the song comes on every single time. Music has been my lifeblood, and this year I finally committed to myself to have a designated music space. So it was always the overflow space or the guest space or the project space, and now it's my music space. Now I have a son, and he is 6, and he obviously comes in here with me, and we jam and we have a great time in here, but this is my music room. And it's one of those beautiful things where I finally feel like I have permission to take this space. Now, I started studying with April last year, and then there was a long gap where I was going through some personal things, and I just could not dedicate my time, energy, resources to training, and I really missed it. April really pushed me, and she made me feel into the songs in a deeper way, and she made me feel into my voice in a different way, and it was hard sometimes, and I didn't always like it. Sometimes I felt like it wouldn't sound good for me. Like, it works for you, but it would sound bad on me. and I didn't want to do the things that she wanted me to do. But I missed training with her. And so this year, I lost my job, and I was on unemployment, and still am. And I'm home with my kiddo for the first time since he was born. I'm able to be a stay-at-home mom, which is incredible. I love it. And I started studying with April again because I realized that there will never be a more perfect opportunity for me to dedicate myself to what I really love. Whether I ever end up on a big stage anywhere ever again or not, I want to grow as a singer, and I want to help other people tap into their voices. And April and I have been working for a while now, a few months I've been back, on really letting my voice out. Not the choir voice, not the band voice, not the singing Christmas songs with family members 20 years ago voice, but my voice. And there have been other things I've been training in concurrently that are really helping with that. It's been an emotional process because it's about facing my actual voice, facing what is, and not pretending that I have somebody else's voice or trying to make myself sound like other people so my voice will be more acceptable and more palatable and more pleasant and more popular, but to actually sing with my voice, Sarah's voice. And April is unrelenting and gracious and firm, and she does not let me get away with sounding like other people. And I so appreciate that. She has really been helping me find all of the mechanical, physical, and emotional barriers to my voice and releasing them. And some of them were easy, and some of them were harder, and some of them I'm still working on, frankly, because things become somatic. They become part of our living energy physical space when we do them for such a long time. And so there are things I know I shouldn't do to really be authentic and be myself, but they're old habits and I'm still working on releasing a lot of them. But I feel that April has given me that shot in the arm, kick in the pants, great big energy hug to say it's okay and good to tell the world that I love to sing, that I am letting my voice out, to take up that space, share my voice, and to expect that it will be well met. Maybe not everybody's going to love my voice, maybe not everybody's going to want to listen to me sing, but to take up that space and say, this is my space, this is my voice to put out into the world for those who want to hear it, for those who enjoy it, to come and experience it, but more importantly, for me to put my voice into the world to say, I am here. This is me. That's what I wanted to share today. Thank you.